Something completely different now. An artist and illustrator from Worcester is living proof that there is plenty of life after being diagnosed with a brain tumour. Bridget Doughty underwent surgery for her tumour 10 years ago and is now doing all she can to help other sufferers, including producing a very nice charity calendar, which I've got in front of me at the moment. She's with me in the studio. Thanks for coming in, Bridget.
No problem, Elliot.
Good to have you here. Just first of all, tell us your story about becoming ill and being diagnosed. What happened?
Essentially, it was in 2002, May 2002. I had a very strange sudden paralysis in my left wrist, which didn't go away. Cut a very long story short, went to the doctor. They were a bit puzzled. I had an eye test some time afterwards, having had some physio on my wrist, and it had improved, but not completely. So the doctor suggested I have an eye test. The eye test showed that I'd actually lost some vision in my right eye, colour vision and peripheral vision. And then I was referred to a neurologist, and he said go into the QE, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, over the weekend for tests. I had an MRI scan, and it showed a small brain tumour, meningioma, that was pressing on my optic nerve, hence the eye problems.
And were you aware of the eye problems? I mean, were you aware of that, or was it just something that you were quite surprised with? I mean, obviously you mentioned the thing in your wrist, but I mean, you know, you'd think, wouldn't you, that you'd notice the fact that you were losing vision?
Indeed, you would, especially as an illustrator. It seems somewhat bizarre that I didn't notice it, but of course I think what happens is that your other eye compensates so much that you don't actually realise it. I had noticed some problem because, of course, since I'd always been very fit, no health problems at all. And when this came about, I thought the whole scenario was a bit odd. So I did start to wonder what was going on. And so hence I'd looked through each eye and I had noticed some problem with my right eye. But, you know, I had no idea what it was. My main concern was it was MS, actually. So when a brain tumour was diagnosed, in my ignorance, I thought, well, at least it's something which can be removed.
Yeah, and obviously, you said you thought that at the time. I mean, how quickly did you find out that it was slightly more complicated than that?
Well, the whole process of diagnosis was very quick. It was literally diagnosed. The surgeon said, you can come back after the weekend, have it removed. You don't have to, but if you want to, then we can do that. And I thought I might as well. So I was, at that time, I was really rather swept along by that. And as I say, ignorance is sometimes bliss. I had some complications. The big operation went very well, completely successful. The risk of losing my sight in that eye, which was a big risk, but thankfully, brilliant surgeon, I didn't. So that all went very well. I actually had more complications after that operation.
What happened?
Because I had a post-op infection in the skull, and so it was about 2 months after that. On my follow-up outpatient's appointment, and they said, you're not going anywhere, you've got to stay in hospital. I was in hospital for another 2 months.
Okay.
I was going to go home that afternoon. I didn't come back home for 2 months, literally.
Wow.
And so I had 2 extra operations. That, unfortunately, with brain tumours, that can be the case. That's why they can be so serious. Although my tumour was very small, sometimes the initial operation can be fantastic, but it's what we often term the collateral damage, which is a problem.
So how long until you were... Because you're okay now, aren't you? This is 10 years ago. How long did it take until you were given the all clear?
Amazingly, last year, my surgeon finally said, I think it's goodbye.
Wow, so that's 9 years.
We don't need to see you anymore, because they give you follow-up scans for 10 years. That's the fairly standard. I was very lucky that the tumour was completely removed, and all my scans in those 10 years didn't show any regrowth. But I am one of the incredibly lucky ones, and I'm fully aware of that. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I suppose it's with anything like this. I mean, is it difficult living with it? Is it difficult, you know, I would imagine that every time you get a headache, you start to worry.
Well, strangely, I never suffered any headaches. I never felt ill. The only thing that made me feel ill was when I was in hospital on one of these succeeding occasions when I had to have antibiotics for a long time, and I think they made me ill because I was on them for so long. The actual brain tumour, for me, never made me feel ill, but that's another problem with brain tumours, is that they are so complex. There are so many different types. There are about 120 different types of brain tumours, and they all cause a variety of problems. So there's no one simple answer. But for a lot of people, yes, of course, you have that sort of anxiety. And you do always have that sense of, for me, because I never knew it was there in the first place, of course, you're bound to think, well, how would I know?
It could be there again, yeah, no, absolutely. But, you look fantastically well, and it's great to see that, that you've you're okay, you've been given the all clear, and you're now getting involved with making people aware, aren't you? And the calendar is part of this. I mean, this is for Hammer Brain Tumours Out. This is a charity, isn't it?
Yes, Hammer Out. They're based down in Bristol, but they cover the country. They actually support people right from the point of diagnosis through treatment, after treatment, even through to bereavement, and they support the patient, the whole family, friends, because brain tumours, if you go through that experience, it does affect everybody around you too. It's a very profound experience, really, to go through for a lot of people. So
tell us about the calendar. This is, I have it here, 2013 calendar. Very nice it is as well.
Yes, I'm
a snowdrop for January.
Yes, I'm very proud to have been aware. Very appropriate at the moment, snowdrop. The calendar really came about because a friend of mine who is a member of the Cheltenham Sport Group, who, like me, she was diagnosed about 6 years ago, but she's fully recovered. She started photography only after her brain tumour. She'd never picked up a camera before having her brain tumour.
And she's done all the photographs in the calendar?
Yeah, she's taken all the photographs.
Oh, they're great. They're really nice. Yeah.
And we just thought it would be a great way both to raise a few funds for Hammer Out, but also to keep awareness of the charity on people's walls throughout the year. And the photographs are combined with quotes, which we hope reflect the ethos behind the charity. And they're all to do with journeys, sharing experience, caring for others.
Well, for example, January's is "We cannot do great things on this earth, only small things with great love," and that Mother Teresa.
Yes,
and she knew a thing or two, didn't she?
She did indeed. And I have to say, the quotes come from a whole range of sources. We've got Mother Teresa, we've got Socrates, we've even got Dolly Parton, believe it or not.
What does Dolly say?
Dolly says, storms make trees grow deeper roots. I paraphrase.
I'll see if I can find out. Storms make trees take deeper roots. Well remembered.
Yes.
She also said, working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
She did indeed. She did indeed.
Entirely different. No, it's a great calendar. It's really good. And obviously, this time of year, people need a calendar. So
of course,
if they want one, where do they get one from?
They are still available, and if people want them, they can either get them through Hammer Out's website, which is hammerout, all one word, .co.uk, or they can phone the Hammer Out office, which is 01454 414 355.
Well, listen, thank you ever so much for braving the elements and coming in.
Not at all, it's been a pleasure.
It's lovely to meet you, and thanks for bringing us the calendar, which is fab, and it's some really lovely photos in there, so if you haven't got one, that will be a good one to have and raise some money for a great cause. Good to meet you.
Thank you very much, Elliot.
Thanks ever so much for coming in. That's Bridget Doughty from Worcester. BBC Hereford and Worcester now, 11:45.
The Guide.